All right, there's lots of questions next service about children, but this is the last question for this service, and it has to do with kids. And it's a great one because there's a lot to it. In a culture that says children first, how do we know if that is us? And what are some tips to make our marriage a priority? So in other words, it's so easy to get caught up in the kids and not make the marriage a priority. So that's our culture, right? Wrap yourselves around the kids. How do we know if that's us? And then tips to make our marriage a priority.
I'll let you go first this time.
So I would say, number one, I would say don't make your marriage a priority, make God the priority, right? That's number one. When you make God the priority, your relationships around you matter, which is going to make your marriage that much. But I think in the context of this, to be fair, it's if our children are a priority or our marriage, like what do? We went on a vacation. It was 10 years ago because it's for our 20th anniversary. It was the first time we ever went on vacation without the kids. And we were both kind of a little bit hesitant. We still had kids at home. They were still in high school or middle school. And so Mama was nervous as anything about leaving them. And once we went on the trip, we missed the kids. But we kept saying, why didn't we do this a long time ago?
Yeah.
Right? And so, I think your home is only as healthy as your marriage is. And so, for that reason, we used to say, and I'm probably stealing Denise's thunder here, we read a book while we were pregnant, while she was pregnant with the first one. I never have.
We do everything together.
But when she was pregnant with our first one, we read a book on parenting from a Christian standpoint, and they said this over and over, and we just kind of adopted it. It was make sure your children know that they're a welcome addition to the family and not
the center
of it. And that drove us through our parenting thing. They are a welcome addition, and we love our kids, and we want to be, and we love being with them. We were with both of them yesterday for a short time. We love those moments, but they're a welcome addition to our family, but they're not going to be the center of it. And really drill down deeper, and it's what I started with. If God isn't the center of it, then it's all a mess anyway. And so if God's the center of our marriage and God's the center of our family unit, it's just going to win. You know how it is. There's enough problems in life. If you're out of balance in any of those things, it's going to be an issue. And so yeah, I think that's what I was. But yeah, I think you got to make your marriage. That's why the date nights are important. That's why just getting away, even if you can't afford it. And there was lots of years, probably a McDonald's ice cream cone would have been hard for us. So just go to the park and sit for a minute, just get away. Whatever. It doesn't have to cost you anything. If you like to throw a Frisbee, go throw a Frisbee. That wouldn't work with us. but we'll do something together just to separate. But yeah, you got to make your marriage a priority. And since you're a teacher, you see it all the time as far as kids are the priority. So maybe speak to it from that side. What do you see with parents that you tell they're just wrapped up in their kids?
Well, I think it's always very apparent for me when I'm with my class, which families are using their children as the center of their world and which are using God as the center of their world. Because when you have a God-centered family, that trickles down and it comes out of little kids. I teach kindergarten, for those of you that don't know. And so I'm dealing with 5-year-olds every day that when you see God being poured in, you see it through the way they react with each other, the way they have respect for their teachers and authorities around them. And you see it especially in their, I have the blessing of being able to teach at a Christian school, but I can really see it in their spiritual knowledge and their spiritual life. And I'll just give you one example. The song Waymaker that we did this morning, my class has for the last month of school, we do a little praise and worship time before we do our Bible lesson. And they have requested that specific song. And it's a specific one that they like. I was been trying to change them up and no, that's not the one we want, But but like that, those things, when we as parents cultivate that in the life of our kids, it does spill out. And on the flip side of that, if you're allowing your children to rule the roost and you're allowing them to get by with everything, and they're not going to respect authority, they're not going to respect you, and I've seen that often as well. Parenting is a difficult journey, and we've had our kicks and bangs throughout the time. But I think the main thing that we have wanted for our kids is that they know who the Lord is, why we are here to share Christ with others. And as they're getting to be adults, we're seeing the fruit of that. But it's so important for them to know God's the priority, not them. And in this culture and this day and age, it's hard. There's sports and gymnastics and all of that, that is really trying to come in and take over. And I think not only pouring into your kids, but getting them to church, making church a priority, making sure that they know this is God's day. And that's, for us, it has always been a deal breaker. It may not be for everyone, but for us it is. And it's just very important that they know God is most important, not them.
Yeah. I would say this as we finish. Sometimes you think of the pastor and his wife or family, and sometimes like they're up on this pedestal and like perfect marriage, perfect family, all this stuff. We are far from perfect. We have had our battles. There have been times in the past that we didn't know if our marriage was going to make it. I'm just telling you, transparent as can be. And there's been times in our family, like, we didn't know what our kids were going to end up doing because it was a really, really hard season. Or we sometimes thought, God, I don't know what you're doing. Like, we're trying to put you first in everything. And, we got some kickback at times at different places in stages in their life. And, but what she just said, like we're seeing now, I've got a 21-year-old, 27-year-old. We're seeing now, like, some of that fruit come around, and now they're starting to say stuff we used to say, which is kind of fun to listen to. And like in their hopefully he doesn't watch this. When in my son's dating relationship, we're starting to hear him say some stuff in his relationship that I never thought ever dreamed that he would say, but it's stuff he's heard from us or has been put in through attending church and things. And so that's been, it's been so fruitful to hear that stuff. Because there was times literally we didn't know if either one of them would do anything with God. And they both have solid relationships with God and love God. So, all right. Thank you for your part.